Hello, I am Anka, and recently I finished this sketchbook, uh, and in it I painted full page ink illustrations, and I'm very proud of it because I'm very bad at painting and even worse at finishing stuff. So I wanted to share it with you. First, to give you some context on my project. A while back, I had a school assignment to fill a sketchbook with urban sketches. And at first, my teacher said that we'll just put the sketchbook in the final presentation map, but then she changed her mind and wanted all um, all the sketches on different pages in the map. So I had to tear them all out, but I wasn't quite finished with it, so I have this slim thing. I don't think I have 10 pages in this, but I never waste paper, so I used it for my regular illustrations. And at the time I only worked in black and white, and I first drew this one, which I didn't like just with the black and white, and I had some colored inks from another school project, and I thought I can't ruin it any worse than it was, so I used the colors, and I ended up really liking it with the colors. So I did kind of a sister piece with the same technique on the other side, and I glued it to the cover because I don't like what was on the other side. And I loved this spread so much that I thought it would be really nice to fill the whole thing with illustrations like this. So I kept going on. I did think in the beginning that the cross-hatching underneath wasn't very good, wasn't doing anything, and I wanted to ditch it. But then I think halfway through this thing, my grandfather passed away, and this became kind of a coping mechanism to deal with his loss. And I wanted to spend as much time as possible on each illustration. So I ended up doing the cross-hatching at every single piece, even in this one. And this was a challenge on DeviantArt held by, I think, Facetalk is how you pronounce it. I'm gonna put a link. And she had this pose reference, and I used it to draw kind of a princess who escapes a dragon on balloons. And then there was a really big gap between this piece and this piece, and I picked this sketchbook up after I had a really weird dream about a girl who finds a wish-giving rose, and she wishes to be universally beautiful, and the rose switches their heads, because for humans the beauty is in the eye of the beholder, but roses are universally pretty. So yeah, that was weird, and it was a really interesting thing. It kind of turned out messy, but I still like the idea, and so I'm glad I saved it. And my sister calls these noodle fairies. I don't know why I drew them like this, probably because I'm bad at anatomy and I wanted to avoid it. But the format is too small to really notice a lot of mistakes, so I end up turning to normal fairies with human anatomy. And after I finished this, it was so satisfying to flip through something that is so consistent, and I thought that it would be even greater to have an actually full sketchbook, full as in with no pages missing. So I started this one. And at the time I wasn't working very often with the landscape format, so all these I thought to use for practice, for composition practice, so I did them all in landscape format. And this was the first one, and I have this little lone traveler that I named Tassia, and she has a small sort of a cross between a cat and an armadillo companion. I don't know why I didn't give her just a cat or a dog, but that's what I felt like. And she appears a lot in the sketchbook. And this is a page that I like the ideas, but I'm not very fond of the execution, because I wasn't very good at painting smoothly with inks, and her skin doesn't look so good, and also I hate the water. I made it too blue. But I do like the ideas, so I revisit them later in the sketchbook. This one I really love, the whole spread. We have Tassia in both of them. And this is probably, I don't know, not the only, one of the only instances of technology. Whenever I show these, people say that they're a cross between fantasy and sci-fi, but there's not actually much sci-fi in it. This is the only technological thing, and I think I have a robot later on. But other than the fact that the planets are showing, there's no sci-fi. And you can have that in fine, you see? And I really like the idea for this. I thought of a civilization that would carve full mountains in the likenesses of their gods and then build their cities on top. And it eventually collapsed because the environment doesn't cope that well with such drastic changes. And here, very small, is Tassia again. I told you she's present throughout this sketchbook. I do have some ideas for some stories with her, but I haven't gotten around to writing anything, and I'm kind of bad at writing. So here's the robot, and I think that's it with the sci-fi in this book. And some kind of town network, and Tassia again. And portrait of a blue person, because why not? Some siblings. And Tassia walking through a desert full of faces. And I really like how this blue dragon turned out. She has a little fairy friend. And this is my second attempt at water. And I do think it turned out way better than this thing. So later on, I have some more pieces like this. And I tried to do a lake of fire here to be like the mother of dragons. But I don't really like how this one turned out. But this one is one of my favorites. And I also like this one, though it's really, really simple. And this is a character. When I first drew it, I didn't thought of it. I wasn't thinking that she was a character. But when I finished the portrait, I kind of saw her whole story and personality, and it fitted so well in the story of a comic that I'm writing, and that's the moment when it kind of all came together. So this is a really important piece for me. And here's the first time I drew sphinxes, because if you look on my channel, I really like drawing sphinxes, and I'm doing a challenge of draw 100 sphinxes, and this is where it all began. I really think they are underused, so I wanted to draw them. And this is Daphne. I really like the concept of Daphne. I like people turning into vegetation or vegetation growing out of people. I don't I don't know if that sounds creepy, but it's an idea that I really like. It fills my head with lots of creative ideas. And this is kind of a companion piece for this one. Like this one, I thought there were two goddesses, and they turned into mountains. And this is the same hill and the same tree, and there's a little couple of normal humans underneath there. And this is another tree growing out of a person. So I like that kind of thing. I have a video of painting this kiss. I'll put a link or something. And this one I really like the idea for it, of having the tree grow in the palms, but I really fucked up the coloring of the hands, because like the palm should be lighter than the rest of the hand, but I didn't pay attention. So yeah, some fairies. And the widow, and another sphinx, and the boat stranded. I thought of the whole planet becoming a desert, but the boat remained intact, because magic or science, very advanced science anyway. And this is a redo of this piece, because I really like the idea, and I think I did a better job with the skin. It's much smoother. And here I thought I didn't draw a lot of flowers in this book, so I wanted to change that and draw some lotuses. And while I was working on it, I had the idea to make this thing, which is one of my favorites. And another tree growing out of the person. I told you I like vegetation growing out of people. I like the creepy parts too. I don't know why. I kind of like creepy things. And some people dancing. And fishes. And here's an axolotl. I saw an axolotl video. I think I came across it on Instagram or something. And I don't know how I lived without knowing how cute they are. Now they're kind of becoming my favorite animal. And here's another guy with trees growing out of him who's building a city. And this was my first piece for Mermaid. And it does take kind of 8 hours to finish one of these, because I do the whole cross hatching underneath and then paint it. So I couldn't do this for all the amounts of mermaid yet, and I didn't want to fill all the rest with just mermaids, so I switched. I have a video when I flipped through the other mermaids that I painted that man. And here's a bridge and some lovers and 2 fairies and some more fishes. And I realized I never drew a serpent-like dragon, and I don't know why, because I really like them. I really like this, but I like little fantasy places to build homes. And this is the last one. This I had the idea, you know, the painting by Botticelli with the Birth of Venus. I thought of taking just the shell and filling it with roses, and have a thing that Venus is gone, the sea and all the other things are gone, but the feelings remain. Yeah. And this is inspired by Thumbelina. I glued on another piece of paper on the cardboard, but it wasn't the same quality as this, so I didn't attempt anything too ambitious. So that's it. And this letter cover I did after I finished the sketchbook. because the covers got really dirty over the years, because I think I started this in 2016. It did take me a while because I kept putting it off, and I'm not very good at painting, so I've kind of avoided using. This is the type of paper that the sketchbook had, and it says ideal for contrast, and it's not false advertising, because it does look great. And I'm not sure what I'll do next. I'm thinking of getting a bigger one and see what I can do in that. But for now, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see if I can talk to you later.